On June 2nd, 2022, a 23-year-old Detroit, Michigan man whose name was Jonathan Welch douses gasoline all over his baby mother, then lights her on fire in a domestic violence case. Then months after getting out of jail, he returns home and beats her and his stepfather to death and fatally stabs his very own mother in a violent rage. This is one of the most gruesome domestic violence / homicide cases out there, and in this video, we'll be talking about the whole string of events that led up to this horrific outcome, so stick around for the full video. What's up, family? Welcome back to the Mysterious Black Bandit. Let me start by showing my gratitude for all you guys who have supported me and this channel. We are almost at that 10K mark, and if you have been watching these videos, you know what that means. It's giveaway time, baby. If you want a chance to come up on some free money, go ahead and check out my previous videos so you can have a chance to win. All right, family, if you haven't already, go ahead and do your boy a solid. Hit that like, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of these videos. Once you've done that, let's jump into this story. On June 2nd, around 3 a.m., Jonathan Welch, who was staying at Zlayiah Frazier, his 22-year-old girlfriend's house, overheard her phone going off late at night. This caused him to become very suspicious, thinking that she could be possibly talking to another guy behind her back. So he demanded to go through her phone so he could go through it to check and make sure everything was good. But she rejected his request and wouldn't allow him to see her phone. This caused Welch to instantly become upset, and he began brutally attacking her. First, he grabbed the extension cord that was lying on the ground and wrapped it around her neck and started violently strangling her. While kicking and screaming, she tried her best to get the cord from around her neck, but the more she struggled, the tighter Welch strangled her. Now, with all the commotion going on, their 1-year-old baby, who was in the room next door, woke up and started crying. So she pleaded with him to let her go tend to the child and make sure he was okay. After seeing that the baby wasn't going to stop crying, he loosened the grip and allowed her to go check on him. But this wasn't the end of this attack. Allegedly, while she was in the other room, he turned on the stove and placed a metal spatula on her eye to use as his next torturing instrument. As soon as she returned, Welch was right back at it, strangling her. Now, during the course of this attack, he would ask her questions while loosening the grip just to hear her answer. But when it wasn't something he wanted to hear, he would reapply pressure. During the midst of all this, Welch had gone and got that spatula off the stove that by this time was probably red hot and started burning her arm and legs, while telling her, if you don't tell me what other guy you're talking to, this is going to continue all night. As this senseless attack continued, Welch went and got a drill, then started threatening her with it, on top of beating her with a belt. But what happened next was the most disturbing. This man goes and grabs a pole and attempts to sexually assault her, but when she fought him off, he doused her legs and private parts with gasoline, then set her on fire. But somehow she was able to put that fire out, but Welch was relentless. He grabbed that extension cord and started strangling her yet again. By this time, the baby was completely awake and had started crying again. Now, although Welch was out of his mind, Frazier was able to convince him to take the extension cord off her neck so she could attend to her crying baby. Once she got the child calmed down, she peeked out the door to see where Welch was, then she took off without any clothes on. Frazier ran as fast as she could to the front door of her house, straight to her neighbor's home, but as soon as she approached the front porch, Welch grabbed her and tried to pull her down, but fortunately she got away. Once the neighbor opened the door, she saw Zlayiah standing there with no clothes on in a panic with marks all over her body, so she rushed her inside her home. She then gave her a blanket to cover herself up and called 911. But as they were sitting there waiting for the police to arrive, they heard a loud boom at the door. Welch had returned and was trying to knock the door down. After several attempts, he managed to kick the door down, but by this time, the police was pulling up, so he fled the scene. After 4 hours, this horrific attack was finally over, and later on that day, Jonathan Welch was finally arrested and placed in the Wayne County Jail for multiple violent crimes. But sadly, this is just the beginning of this violent and cruel behavior. Welch's bond was set at $100,000, in which he only had to pay 10% of to get out, and within a month, he was let out. On Friday, July 8, 2022, he was bonded out through a bail bond his mother, 42-year-old Flossie Nicole Bray, was able to obtain after paying $10,000. He was placed under house arrest with a GPS tether and was ordered to stay at his mother's home on Kenosha Street in Harper Wood. Then tragedy struck 2 days later when the police was called to his mother's home. As soon as the police arrived around 8:14 that afternoon, they were greeted with rounds of gunfire from Welch, who had barricaded himself inside his mother's home. Now, across the street was his mother, who had been attacked by him, but was able to free herself and escape across the street. The neighbor stated that as soon as she got over to their home, she started to collapse, but she had to try to keep her up because the knife was still in her back. Allegedly, Welch had stabbed his very own mother multiple times with a butcher knife. And of course, whenever the ambulance arrived, seeing how severe her injuries were, they rushed her to the hospital hospital in critical condition. Now, by this time, police had surrounded all perimeters of the house and was trying to coerce him to come out. And it was stated that after several hours, Welch finally surrendered to the police, but not before attempting to start a fire inside his mother's home. Once he was apprehended, firefighters extinguished the fire and investigators walked into the house and discovered a bloodbath. His 70-year-old stepfather, Robert Bray, and the mother of his child had been killed by blunt force trauma. Now, once the investigators started questioning the neighbors, someone stated that they saw him toss a child outside the window. So officers searched around the house, and this is when they spotted a 1-year-old child crying, laying on the ground in the backyard. So the officers picked the child up and he was sent to a local hospital for treatment. Jonathan Welch's mother ended up succumbing to her injuries days later, and he is now locked up again at the Wayne County Jail with no bail and now being charged with 19 counts, including charges of first-degree murder. Family members stated that Zlayiah was truly a sweethearted person who loved her child so much and wanted the best for everybody. Her mother, Trina Harris, stated that she was inspired by her brother who had cerebral palsy and her sister who fought cancer to become a nurse. And that will bring this video to an end, my good people. This is yet another devastating and tragic domestic violence death that could have been prevented, but wasn't due to certain laws set in place. Listen, y'all, please understand this. If anyone is putting their hands on you or verbally abusing you, just know that is not real love. That's control. Now, of course, we all fuss and fight sometimes, but if you find yourself in a relationship where it's way more fighting than loving, please reevaluate their relationship. All right, family, I apologize for my soliloquy, but I've seen this firsthand, and I promise you it never works out. So make sure you pay attention to those small things and get out if necessary. Let me thank everyone for watching. Make sure you hit that like button, and why not subscribe to your boy? Y'all make sure you have a great day, and until next time, stay mysterious, my friends.